So this is just a review of introductions and conclusions, and I'm going to include some examples. This is just a reminder that it doesn't matter if you write stuff in a triangle or not, but we want to start with a broad introduction statement, no weirdo questions. Narrow that down, which some people would call a bridge, to eventually make sense to have this statement and this statement together. Your thesis and your introduction, this statement kind of weaves them together a little bit. So you're going to start out with a broad generalization and narrow that down. Maybe you say something, and then your own thesis. To start your conclusion, you're going to take your thesis and basically bust it up into 2 sentences. You're going to have a transition word, in conclusion, in short, to summarize, overall, something. And then the first part of your thesis, put the second part of your thesis in different words to make it a complete sentence. And then this is the big deal. The big deal is finish out your conclusion with an actual purposeful statement, make a point. It's a big old triangle down here because we want you to make a point. So I'm going to show you some student samples and then you can evaluate your own. So this is one student sample. The hook says everyone has one talent or skill. Some people might use it every day, or some might use it only when needed. One skill I have is fashion, which I developed from family and social media, and I use it, and there should be something right there. In conclusion, one skill I have is fashion. That's the first part of her thesis. Not only do I use it every day, but it helps with looking presentable in social media posts, which I assume is the second part of that thesis up here. Anyone who doesn't know they have a skill or talent should adventure out and consider finding something they enjoy and are good at. And that works. Here's another example about the talent. Everyone has a talent he or she might have or own. Some could include volleyball and football, but others want something more along the lines of art and music. My talent is softball, which I developed through practice and use to compete. We have an everybody, a some, and a you. Conclusion. In conclusion, my talent is softball. Not only did I develop it, but I also use it to compete. Anyone who has a talent or skill should develop and use it. Pretty simple ending, and that works. Here's another example. Most students face many challenges, but they don't know how to overcome them. The big topical word here is challenge. Some challenges are making friends, no sleep, boredness, stress, mean teachers, and homework. One great challenge students face is having too much to do, which they can overcome by organizing and time management. So that's the thesis statement. In conclusion, one out of many problems students have is having too much to do. First part of thesis, organizing and time management can help with that. Second part of thesis, anyone who has a challenge can find ways to overcome it. Pretty good. Here's another example. Anyone can have a certain talent or skill they love. Some people have skills like sports and board games, and I'd like to see maybe a third one there just to give it some symmetry. However, one skill I have is riding dirt bikes, which I have developed by learning tricks, riding with friends, and having fun. In conclusion, the one skill I have is riding dirt bikes. I have developed it by learning tricks, riding with friends, and having fun, and I will say that this needs to have a use on it. I use it too because that was the prompt. Anyone who wants to develop a new talent or skill should consider stepping out of their comfort zone. Okay. Here's one about challenges. All students have a challenge facing them. For some students, it might be staying quiet or paying attention, but others, it is their grades. A challenge facing students is respecting others, which can be overcome by self-control or help from an adult. That's the thesis. Conclusion. In conclusion, a challenge facing students is respecting others. This challenge can be overcome by self-control or seeking help from an adult. I just busted that up. Any student who has challenges should consider these examples. They face the challenge. Maybe we say they should face the challenge. Here's another example. Everyone has a challenge he or she faces. That's fair. Everyone does have that. Let's capitalize it. Some people have trouble with sports while others might struggle with school. One challenge students face is socializing, which they can fix by getting help from themselves and others. Conclusion. In conclusion, students can get help with socializing. By this I mean they can get help from others and themselves. If students have trouble socializing, they should definitely try one of these options. There you go. 2 more. Everyone has a talent that he or she enjoys. Some people are good at a sport, an instrument, or something more on the creative side. Art is a talent that I have developed over time and use for enjoyment. This one I like a lot, the bridge, because it says creative and then it goes into something creative. Conclusion. Art is important to my life. I have developed the skill over time and use it for enjoyment. The more anyone practices, the more he or she will get better. Not bad. Here's your introduction. Lots of people have talents. I feel like that's fair. Some of these might include cooking, singing, and writing. A talent I have is football, which I developed through my dad's experience and use it to help myself and others. Conclusion. One of my few but best talents is football. I acquired football as a talent through my dad's knowing, and I use it to help others and myself. Anyone who has or wants a talent should work and practice to become their best. There you go. Last one. Most students face challenges and have trouble overcoming them. Most of it is because of the way students organize. One challenge for students is missing work, and they should try strategies at school and home. And I assume one of those is to be organized. Conclusion. A challenge for students is missing work. For students to overcome it, they should try strategies at school and at home. Anyone who faces this challenge should try different strategies until they find the one that fits them. All right. So speaking of strategies, make sure that you are using strategies of starting broad and narrowing down to your thesis. If this is too formulaic for you and you feel like you need a little more creativity, give it a shot. See what happens. But you don't ever start with a thesis. It needs to go, if ever, it needs to go at the end of your introduction. So give it a shot, work with it, and see what happens.